We adjusted the materials. We were basically ready to find, I think at this point, the angles and adjust the lighting for the character. Once we have this, we can basically queue the renders, and we would be done. I take some time normally to find like the right angle and lighting. Maybe sometimes a little bit too much time, but let's just go. Let's just at least start with that. Okay, we're going to create a new camera. There's actually a useless camera here. So those were the shots for the mantis. It's nothing special. It's just camera angles, that sort of stuff. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna keep the front camera just as a reference. We're gonna rename it Mantis front. Okay, and we're basically gonna figure out what's going to be the front for our character. This angle is not the most interesting. There's like a rotation needed, I feel, to strike a better pose. I guess we're gonna go in performance mode just so we can just see more quickly. All right. Bon, Stéphane est parmi nous. Yeah. I mean, distance, we're just gonna change that to frame the character in the shot. Now, with characters that have like stuff sticking out like this here, it makes for kind of like a weird composition for full size images. But we're gonna still keep this because it's gonna make more sense for when we crop the images with like a closer shot. So yeah, for the moment we're gonna keep just everything in frame. That's gonna be the role of the distance. Inclination, I'm never going to go much further than -7, just because I feel it's like the right angle that fits with the background. As you remember, this is a static image, so we don't have a lot of play when it comes to the look of the full size shot. At least the one where we see the feet. The one if we focus on the head, sometimes it's a little bit more like cheatable. Anyways, and the twist, we're not gonna play with that. So it's just really a matter of finding the right azimuth, as they call it. Okay, so that's going to be 1. And let's create another camera. Call it actually, I could have just moved before and then create the camera. Diagonal, call it diagonal right. We're going to get a bit of like that shot here. In this one, the balance between the legs, the way that they are spaced and everything, I really like the counter pose that it does with the top of the body, especially how heavy the arms make the body look. Like for me, like this is probably one of my favorite shots around here. At some point, it's not as nice and balanced anymore. It's really like around here. Now, can I have one where the hand, like when I find like a pose I like, I also check if there's enough negative space in the body to make it look interesting. Like this one has like a nice negative space at the back, so we see more of the profile, like the shape of the character, right? We're gonna save it here. And the thing about the front shot, that's the thing, eh? The front shot, we're gonna have to rely on rim lights to get the body to show its shape because of the amount of noise there is around the silhouette. But so basically the arms, right? But this one here is it's more readable. Actually, what I'm gonna create a new camera. Diagonal R2. And I'm just gonna shuffle up and down just to see. Oh, the arrows don't work. Huh. Basically the same fucking thing. All right. We got front, diagonal. We're gonna go for another. Is there a side view that's interesting? Sometimes it can be just like the top part that's interesting, and if the full size is not interesting, it's just let's remember that we can just crop. Let's get this angle as well. This one is going to be diagonal left. She doesn't have an interesting side view though. Maybe this angle is, Okay, you know what? I'm actually gonna save this one as diagonal R2. Nah, not really. All right, so for the back view, we're gonna need to have the camera come a little bit further because of this stinger that's really in the way. Once again, we're gonna try to find a shot that has some negative space. This might be our basic shot. Back view. FXH Sculpteur, bonjour. Back R. This one has a good leg shape right there. Back L. So how many shots do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 shots is doable. I don't think we're gonna use the 7 shots. With experience, I've figured out that like normally with like 3 angle, I'm more than happy with the representation of my my character. Oh yeah, that's true. We have one that's like almost just for the close up. So I like to have a few angles of the head with like different. So like this one here is, I love this angle for the head. It's just the rest of the body is not super interesting in this angle. Let me just figure out which one I want to keep. The static one from the back. Let me check my my own stuff. Did you guys see this? The new thing I could just put out? I think I was talking about it on the stream. The devil character was preparing, plus learning in Unreal and whatnot. A fun little thing to do, especially learning in Unreal was pretty nice. Okay, where's the mantis? All right, whoop. Front. At the back angle, still front, still back, front. The turntable I'm gonna show later. Okay, so that's another back angle. No, that's the same one, jeez. Okay, the diagonal one, which is also, I like this this angle. Okay, so back diagonal. From the other side, yeah. Okay, yeah, that's pretty much what I was doing. As a sculpt, thank you. Best art. Looking good, thank you. Front, so that's good, that's good. This one's not super interesting, but I'm gonna keep it. This one feels like a bit of a waste. There's almost no difference with this one though. This one. Azotop, hey, hey, hey. Unreal is kind of challenging at the beginning, but worth it at the end. Yep, indeed. I agree with that. Quick tonight. Hey, Marco, how's everything doing? Pretty good. Pretty good. I had some like small vacation this weekend, but I'm going for real vacation next week. Road trip. So there's 3 back angle. That's maybe a bit much. 2 would be all right. It's just I really can't decide which one's the best. Like this one, I'm leaning on maybe not, because it's the one that has like the least kind of like counterbalance in the pose. This one's the straightest, and this one has the counterbalance in the pose, which is the better angle. So I might actually just like test it with lighting to see and take a decision. Yeah, this one's really not interesting. She really doesn't have interesting side views. That's the better angle, even if it's not the best. We're gonna get rid of this one. All right. All right, we might just go for 5 angles actually. Okay, all right. So once I got this, I'm just going to check if changing slightly the inclination on each is gonna make this like better or not. Yeah, I think this. And this one looks better when we incline it more back. I think that's the original. What about -10? I think we're gonna go for this. This one, the more inclined we are, the better it is, I find. But realistically, we have a range. So this, but we also need to change the distance a little bit. I just made sure both of my menus are the same size so that like I have some sort of like closer borders to feel what's in the center, right? All right, save. It's good, and back left. After all, I prefer this angle for this one. Okay, so everything fits in our canvas. We've got all our angles. Now we need to fix the lighting for each angles. If you follow this recipe, mind you. I've always angled with presentation. Do you have a set of guidelines before you start, or do you have a good feel for camera angles and lighting after doing so much? Well, I feel like this is what I'm explaining in this stream, so I'm hoping this stream is going to answer your question. A year later, the model is done. At least it looks very good. Thank you. Yeah, it's hard to get something done when you're working on it just 2 hours per week. All right, so we're out of presentation mode. So technically, this first environment was the environment for the mantis seen from the front view. The idea is that I have both of my rim lights, right? So when testing an environment, it's something to be careful about. We're gonna get rid of the other, oops. Ah, motherfucker. Okay, so this is gonna be front mantis. We're gonna keep the freestyle camera. There's no way to just bring it up, eh? So we're gonna duplicate front mantis. I'm gonna call it front. And what I do is I just like screenshot. And then I'm gonna play with the rotation. Actually, you know what? No, let's remove the rim light before. Let's wait just a few seconds. Okay, it's enough volume information. Now we're gonna rotate this. So this is creating more shade. It might be a bit of shade. We were at 5 degrees, but if we go in the other direction, so according to my screenshot here, we see we were at, I was not in the setting tabs. Anyway, I remember I was at 5 degrees. So this one is flatter. This one has more like shade. But in terms of like visibility, I feel like this one, even it has more contrast, was lacking in visibility. Especially around the arms on the left. So I'm going to experiment even more visibility. This one's starting to be a little bit too much, too frontal. So I think we're good with 352, 4. 354. Boom. feels like the right angle for this camera shot. Well, yeah. Then the rim lights, because the rim lights, they oh wait. Yeah. So I'm at 1.2, I'm gonna go to 0. Oh wait, if I turn my environment to 0, I don't even get the rim lights. Is that correct? Okay, I guess this is like the global adjustment. How do I... Oh, yeah, background here. Okay, so you turn these off, background, you go here, brightness at 0.6. You just have to remember 0.6. No lighting. Then pin light, boom. Now we can see where the rim light is, which is the very edge, not recurring any much information reading. This one's better. This one's pretty good. Pretty good rim light. So this one here, we're gonna see this way, much more information. With both of them, we have a full cutout of the character. Do we need to bring something up or down? We can test, see. So now we don't have much on the right side of the head here. Six of brightness. We're gonna check the before after. Oh, that's true. I didn't take the screenshot with the So the rim light's really good to break the legs apart from the background, especially with the back arm as well. We got a more silhouette readability as well on the body, so that's good. Yeah, I think it's gonna be good. All right, and this environment here is everything you do is already saved in the settings, so we don't need to save anything. And we're gonna go for a duplication, and next one is diagonal R. So we're gonna go shift our camera to here. Let's remove the background. I could just like rotate the environment from here actually. Don't need to touch any of the global settings. So But that's not bad already. If we want it to be like the other, we probably need to bring the light back to the front here. Let's save. Right, this one still a lot in the shade. Let's screenshot this. That was our first one. It's like this one is way too much, that's for sure. So in between this one and this one. Hey, thanks for the sub. That's pretty cool. Actually, I'm gonna not have it full screen like that. It's a bit bothering me. There we go. Buzzy Mart, hello, hello. Doing pretty good, and you? Yeah, I feel like maybe the answer is in the middle. Between 22 and 2, so like, let's say... Yeah, I think we're gonna go with that. Now the rim lights. So once again, brightness to 0. Boom. So this is going to be the most important one because it's really the back of the character. This one's a question of just like cutting the proper shapes. Feels pretty good. The shapes are really nice in this angle plus the rim light like this. Volumes are yep, volumes work really well. Let's go a little bit higher. Yeah, I think I preferred before. All right. That would be the shot. And we're going to test one last thing. So with everything, we're going to bring it back to like 18 here to bring back some contrast, because I feel like maybe with adding the REM light, we don't need to flatten the lighting to get more of the volume. Well, not to flatten the lighting, but to have the lighting more frontal. Yeah. Let's keep it like that. Which makes me wonder if I go to the front lighting. If I introduce more, oh, that's maybe a lot. We're going to compare this with this. Because that's the thing. If I turn the dial here, it turns my rim light as well, which I don't want. Whereas I stay in HDR editor, if I just turn the background, then my rim light, they stay static, which is what we really want. I'm going to go in between. All right, so next angle, diagonal left. Duplicate again, diagonal left. Once again, remove the rim lights, find the correct background lighting. Probably going to be in the minuses. Not minuses, but the other way around. Do I want to keep the light coming from the same angle? Probably. Just for the sake of consistency. Okay, now it's starting to get a little bit too much on the side. I feel like that's respectable. Remove the light. Okay, yeah, this one. Okay, I think that's good. Six. And we're gonna, now that we have our rim lights, once again, we're gonna check if we want more contrast in our main light. I think going in this direction was more contrast. Yep. A bit dark. Between 37 and 55. So at 48. think I still prefer the more lit version. I'm gonna bring it to 40. And that'll be good. Next angle. So we have back and then back left. Right. Thai Cyber, hey, hey, hey. Might be a little bit too frontal. We're gonna go with the this angle. And now for the pin lights. Now the pin lights are gonna be like at the back, so it's a bit of a problem. Like we're gonna need to really like turn them around to until they act like a rim light. So around here. Well, now they're a little bit too global. It's decent. What about the other one? I think the backlight's a bit too strong though. The way they reflect on the yeah. No, the way they lit like everything at the back. It's not bad though, it's just I feel like it's a bit confusing. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna fix this right now. Well, yeah, let's bring the background back first. Okay. So to do this, we're gonna just click on those three lights. Boom, boom, boom. And we're gonna click on link materials. And then link material. But now they all share, like they are all called Jesus. They're all called spider eye body number 1, which is just a sign that they are on a new material now. So we're gonna call it light back. We're just gonna reduce the power of them. Let's set to 100. Let's give it some time to see if it. All right. So you see they reach less far. We're gonna reduce them to 50. And now they're just like a little like tint, which is good. That's what I was trying to get. Might be a bit too weak. I just made them like a bit more like a flashy red, the light itself, without augmenting necessarily like the power. So how far it propagates. Just a reminder that those lasers, everything's going to be done in post-production for like the glow and that sort of stuff. What they offer now is like a source of light that reflects on the character. That's all they do. They don't glow, they don't do anything like that. Okay, camera, back, left, duplicate, back, left. Does the reflection on the lower back look like a predator aim thingy? Yeah, see what you mean. Do you think that pose a character this detail in a more complex pose like Spider-Man or some superhero is very time consuming or nearly impossible? It's not impossible, but it would be requiring a lot of, I mean, especially if you're doing it for print. If you're doing for print, it has to be posed like perfectly, and there has to have like as like almost no errors in the posing, right? When characters in video games pose like this, it's like in game normally they're posed like this. They don't stay in that pose for very long, or like the range of animation is calculated and especially with like beauty shots, it can be like retouched. So it's really for print that you get to see really like everything everywhere, right? So it makes it hard for that for sure. But it's doable. I mean, I've posed some pretty complex thing. There's a way. It's just yeah, it takes time, but it pays off at the end if the pose is really cool and your character is complex. But something else you have to keep in mind: if a character is extremely complex, you might not want to give it a complex pose because now it stacks up the complexity too much to a point where it's like you can't really like admire the details because the pose is already like very like detailed in a sense, right? Often with like characters that are like this complex, you might want to just give them like a neutral pose so it your eye can just stay focused on the piece and really just like digest the details. Whereas like when you do like a character that's like has like a crazy pose, the eye gets excited by all the movement that's in the composition in general. Don't know if that makes sense. I think that's better. That might be too much frontal. Yeah, we're gonna keep it 182. A band. There we go. 0. Let's do the rim lights. That's a good one. I think it should be good. Let's get the lighting back. And we're gonna do the same thing as before, the test, see if we bring back contrast in our picture, if it's better. So let's bring it to 222. Yeah, more contrast is better in this case, I find. Maybe not as much. We're gonna go in the middle. Yeah, I feel like the volumes are better with this one. I'm gonna do one last test. Kind of blasts the okay, that's the main light that's blasting on the arm here. Yeah, there's also the height of the oh, we can't change the height in this. Or is it the tilt? Let's just test this before. It's really this one that works. And now I'm just gonna check something. Is the tilt? Oh no, the tilt is like is it gonna bring this forward? Downward? I'm gonna be honest, I'm not sure how the tilt influences the this exact angle, but it does bring like a lighting that I was looking for. Goes a little bit more downward, it feels, which was what I was hoping to do as well. So yeah, we're gonna keep it. Kind of brings a lot of light to the no, arm and the head though. No, you know what? I'm not going for it. Zero tilt. Boom. Okay, so we got our cameras. And don't forget, we can always like do post-production. So if there's like a part that's too lit, not lit enough, it's just a question of like putting a overlay layer on the final image. So no big stress there either. So I feel that there's one thing that's really bothering me is like how much the feet are like more bright. I think that has to do with their shape. They're really capturing the angle of the lights. I'm just going back to this image since it's probably going to be the key one. I just want to make sure that I made the right decision. Okay, all right. Okay, are we actually done? Because I got my cameras, I got my environments for each cameras. My materials are all done. Everything is there. There's no turntable in this scene. My lighting is already set up. I always use those simple settings. The image is set up. So basically, and the render, like the resolutions are there. Render all pass. Spider 1 in the right place. There we go. Everything is ready. So technically I could go and add everything to queue. So the idea with the render queue is that if I click render queue, it's going to take exactly all the settings of my scene and it's going to put them in this render queue. Then I go and I just change for another environment and I can add it to the queue and I render and that's it. Oh, also I'm going to make a test because I don't believe that rendering to this amount of, oops, jeez, option, there we go. So here, before I was rendering for like 7 hours, so like 1 image per night, which is pretty intense, but the Keyshot's not a super fast renderer, especially with complex scene like mine. I'd like to try 3 hours. If I try 3 hours, it's going to be, yeah, I'm going to try 3 hours this time. I got a better computer than last time. And maybe 3, I was like overkilling it. I'm going to be able to test tonight. Okay. It won't need to be a queue, so I'm just going to keep it to that for the moment. So yeah, I could click render, but of course we're not going to do that on a stream. But that's pretty much it. I'm ready to render. So I'm going to save that scene. Yeah, it's gonna look good. I can already tell just by the preview. It's like it's sampling right now, and it's gonna be good. That's gonna be good. Yes. Well, let me check something. Okay, my screen is freaking out. Jesus, come on, man. That was intense. Oops, I moved this by accident. Okay, this window has gotten like way too big. Okay. So next step would be preparing the turntable scene, which is, do I have that prepared? So that would be the scene to import in. I think we're, because I don't think we can transfer a model from a keyshot scene to another one. Or at the very least, I don't want to have to play around with that. So we're just going to close that scene. Yeah. I saved everything. Also, I didn't have the base, the podium. So we're going to just reopen ZBrush. We're actually going to re-import in this scene here. Then I'm going to explain what I did with the scene. Hopefully, we're going to have a bit of time to check also ZBrush. Otherwise, I'll keep it for later. So yeah, bad timing because, well, no, good timing. Because technically, I'm taking next week off, and that's going to give me some time to do the renders. And then next stream, we can check the composition in Photoshop, and then we're truly done. Takes a little bit of time to load, of course. Come on, let's go already. All right, let's go now. Jeez, why is it taking so long to load? Thank you. So for this one, we're actually not gonna use the materials, but we're gonna grab the podium. I'm gonna want to export all of that as I did. So render, Keyshot render, no need for group by material. So yeah, just go render. That's saying preparing to render. Here we can see it import the stuff. So what I have in my scene right now is just the remnants of another of my model. Don't know which one, but we're just gonna grab its material. We're gonna keep the same HDR and scene setting that I have, which is because they're the one that I've used before. So for the sake of consistency, again, I usually delete my turntable scenes like this when it's just like about like a material or something. It's not worth keeping it on the computer. Or sometimes what I do is I'll just like almost delete everything in the scene except for like the except for maybe like one or two pieces, so it keeps the materials. And if I need to re-render, I'll just re-import. Because it's really plug and play, right? So it's not worth to keep like all of these like 15 gigabyte files. The entry in the log declare according to their importance. Critical message cannot load texture. I don't want you to load the texture. Q socket and fire. Because I cannot be. No fucking clue what you're talking about, man. And anyways, right off the bat, we're gonna. Okay, wow. It changed the. Okay, let's rename what we just imported. Let's slap our texture on it. So the texture here is basically the one from the materials that were already in the scene. We're going to take it, put it right on top so that it applies to everything. And then we're going to tell this guy to go position itself, snap on ground. Boom. All right. Let's get back to camera one and get rid of ZBrush camera. So we're not going to touch the environment. We have one material. We have our guy here. Lighting setting are going to stay the same. It's the same as the other one. And nothing here as well, right? So now the only thing we need to do is to slap the animation on it. Well, we do need to turn it on its side, because if you look at how I do my animations, okay, I have screens of different resolutions and it always does that when I import them. Okay, there we go. So you see the video is starting and the character is looking to the right, and then it turns. I don't know why I made them turn counter like clockwise. I feel like I've always rendered my turntables counterclockwise, but anyways, so yep, it turns in this direction, starts from the right. So we're just gonna simply do it like we've always done it, which means that we're gonna, if you look at the position of the mesh from before, it is turned 90 degrees. So we're gonna do the same thing here. 90 degree. And this one has a turn animation. We're gonna put the same turn animation. Copy animation. Actually, let me just copy it this way. Where's the animation wizard? There we go. Oh, I can't view the... Is it here? Locate mirror, select group, hide, rename, sort. Ah, yeah, there we go. Okay. That's what I'm looking for. So there's already an animation in this, I don't know how to call that. Animation group. So it's a rotation from the environment clockwise on 6 seconds. I could go into here. Add a turntable animation. Environment clockwise on 6 seconds. There's also something about animation settings. Render end frame. I don't think I need it to be rendering the end frame. I'll do it and I'll just remove it from the frames, because if you want it to be like a slick turntable, the end frame, I think it considers it to be the same frame as the first frame, so you would get like a duplicate, but we can just like delete it later. So now see both of them are turning. If I turn my animation off for my spider, only the thing that was there before turns. And it's a linear animation, by the way. There's no like ease, like ramping up, ramping down in the animation. There we go. So now everything's turning well. I'm actually just going to delete the old model. There we go. And the only thing I'm going to do is just make sure that my stingers are not going outside of the frame, which they're not. And I'm gonna want them to be just a little bit closer because this character is a bit small. So we're gonna go in our camera and we're gonna have it a distance of 9.2. There you go. Okay. There you go. Let's save the camera. The render settings. So yeah, so this one's gonna render at 2560 by 1440. You see, it's gonna render 181 frame. That's what I was saying. It's like there's one frame extra that we won't need. Actually, I will get rid of it. So it's here in a little cog. Once you have your animation selected, and you just remove render and frame. And then if you go back, render, you see now it's gonna render 180 frame, which is what we want. There's going to be a render time of 3 minutes, 3 minutes per frame, and it's going to take a total of like about 9 hours to render all of that. So this, I just open it, I click render, and there you go. Although I'm just going to change the location of the renders. I'm going to render, put it in a folder called sequence. There we go, PNG, not including the alpha. And it's a frame output that we're going to use. And that's pretty much it. That's it. Save as. Call it spider turn. This is something we're gonna delete also later. Actually, normally I call it like underscore to delete in all caps. So it's really visible for me to delete it. But I just forgot. 140. Okay, I think we have enough time to kind of like show how the ZBrush renders would be done. Also, something else that I think is worth mentioning. Oh, where are they? Oh, right there. Okay, so all of the textures that are transferred when you bridge a model from ZBrush to Keyshot, okay? All of those textures, they're somewhere on your computer, and you can lose the textures, and it's kind of like, it's weird because I wish they were in another path, but look, actually, I'm going to explain that while I'm resetting everything. Just a sec. Just going to take a screenshot of this. So this I can close it now. I'm gonna open ZBrush. Okay, this is a render scene that I've done for ZBrush that I'm gonna use. Okay, so what I meant to explain about the textures is when you export a mesh from ZBrush to Keyshot with the bridge thing, it puts all of the textures in a path like this here, like Windows, user, public document, ZBrush data, and then external renderer. And all of the maps are going to be here, but it's like some of them maybe you don't want to keep them, some of them you want to keep them because they're part of your project. And what I do is I actually always take all of, once I've bridged all of the well, once I've bridged the model, I take all of the texture and I just like dump it into like a polypaint texture folder. See, those are like the textures. I just export them here. They're near your file. So if it says it lost them, you can just point them here. Or I think because it's in a subfolder, it knows to go get them. But yeah. There's also a way in ZBrush to save like your package. When you save your package, it basically like saves everything, all the resources that it needs. So there's also that you can do for sure. All right, so we got our model here. This is the scene that I use to render my character. So if we take once again, for example, our mantis. All right, so this is basically the ZBrush render that I will be doing for like the gray version. So there's rim lights, or blue rim light, red rim light. There's a main light, and that's pretty much it. Also, it's made to be rendered without polypaint. It's already set up with like a material that is like a bit flashy. Right now the background is gray, but we're gonna render without a background, right? So the material, it's just a material with, I augmented the specular map, so it just like shines a little bit more. I'm gonna show you the render settings. Actually, I don't need this model anymore in my scene. All right, and we're also gonna get rid of those like timestamps or a key. All right. Because that's the thing, it's I'm going to place new keys, and that's the point of using this timeline, is just to save angles that we want to keep. So you see if I move like the character, I can just go back to like this key or this key, depending on what I saved. As easy as that. What are the questions? Will the next project be something organic like Elden Frog or something quite different? Probably something organic, I'd say. Yeah. Marmoset tool bag versus 3D Substance 3D Painter. I did not use Marmoset, so I wouldn't be able to tell you. All right. All right. So just letting you know, this is the settings for the madcap. Yeah, you can just reproduce this and you'll get the same results. It's my information here with the mixer and everything, which is I think pretty standard. So yeah. So that's the material. Now for the lights. I don't need madcap information. No. Okay, all right. So this is my main light that I'll be using with the value. Do I have all the information? Yeah, okay. And then if I turn that off, I have here, this is one of the rim lights. Or is it actually? I think it's supposed to be blue. No. Yeah, I think I put the blue tint in Photoshop. So yeah, there you go. So that's the center light. That's the rim light. That's the other rim light. So when you look at the values, the only thing that changes is my rim lights are at 1.8 and my main light is at 0.85. And it's just a matter of rendering those like those three lights, right? And when you render, you also render with, I'll show you my render pass, 3 of subpixels. There you go. So that's my settings for the shadow. That's my settings for the ambient occlusion. When I render the rim lights, I remove the ambient occlusion. It's overkill. And sometimes I even reduce the amount of rays of the shadow because it can take a while. But these are not like crazy numbers for rendering either. Like you can render pretty fast with something like that. And yeah, the resolution is at like 5K also, just to make my close-up. So yes, it's going to take a while to render, but yeah. And like the Mantis, I'm going to render a few angles at full frame. And I'm going to crop after. So now the only thing that's left is to find the proper angles. So this one was just like a throwaway here, but I'm gonna go back here. This is the actual size of the render, right? But I'm just like zooming out so I can see my frame. Okay. And there we go. So I'm pretty much gonna go get the same angles as before, right? Oh, and I render with the podium. Is that really my draw distance? My focal distance, I mean. So I'm gonna record one frame here. I'm gonna just see if there's not like a better angle, like a little bit more like upwards. I can do left, right to compare the two. And camera's back. Also, what's cool about the timeline in ZBrush is that if I like there's two angle and I'm like, oh, maybe like in the middle of the two, I can just take the slider and slide it and be like, okay, that's a good one. Then I remove the other ones. So that's going to be one angle. But yeah, the other thing that one thing that I don't like about ZBrush when choosing angles is that there's no way to just turn perfectly horizontal when rotating and turning perfectly vertical. You always have to be kind of like doing it by hand, and yeah, it's a bit annoying to have to do it like that. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good angle already. Don't need to play more with it. Now there was that's the good middle. Although there's a stinger that's off camera, so let me just slide modifications. Okay. Almost there. Yeah, so those are pretty much the 5 angles that I had in Keyshot. It's not really, it doesn't really matter if you have the same exact, but I do remember that I like the good position of those angles, so I'm just gonna stick with these. And as I said, the moment we press render, then we're done. This we need to save as a project though, to keep the model, the lighting, and everything. So we're also gonna keep it here under Spider Z render. We're also gonna delete those later. Not delete the purge. We're just gonna remove a few items from the scene and then save it. Save. Because it saves also the timestamp, right? So we could delete the Z tool inside of that Z project and just load the Z tool again, and it would be placed perfectly, basically. And one last thing we're going to do with that during the stream here, we're just going to press render and see how long it takes to render. See? Not too long. It's going to take, what, a minute? And basically, like I said, we're going to need to render 3 images per angle. So, you can go pretty fast rendering those images, actually. It's just a bit boring, but you just take your phone, you play a little game of Balatro while you wait, and that's it. A little bit like inside baseball for you. See, when we're going to be at the half mark, it's going to start to do the anti-aliasing, which means it's going to pretty much be done. Boom. So that's one render done. So I see it renders those passes. I don't remember in the Photoshop if I use the shadow and the AO. I know I use the mask. I don't do the depth. So really it's a matter of taking your result plus the mask. Do I use the same resolution for render in ZBrush and Keyshot? Not like actually, no, not exactly, but pretty much, yeah. So yeah, okay, let's zoom in. So, boom, so that's the actual size that I rendered in. I see quality is pretty good. Anti-aliasing is there. Yeah, it looks nice. Yeah, looks good. All right. Well, that's pretty much it. So I'm gonna spend some time doing the Keyshot renders. Maybe getting those ZBrush renders as well. And for the next stream, which is going to be in 2 weeks, mind you. I'm just gonna tackle like composition and that sort of stuff. It might be a smaller stream because there's not a lot to say, but I can go through a few of my composition and whatever, and then I'll be able to show that character and show you what I'm also working on the side. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope that I hope it was fun. I hope you had fun. I hope you're gonna have a good week or a good 2 weeks. And on that, well, I will see you later. So thanks for coming again, and I'll see you very soon. All right, bye bye.